listeners to One Thought at a Time, the podcast where we explore the incredible twists and turns of life's most personal stories. Today, we have a very special episode, one that's close to my heart because it involves my dear friend Lee. We were on the road heading to a truly remarkable reunion, 20 years in the making. Today, we're diving into a story of connection, anticipation, and the beautiful complexities of family. My friend Lee first met her biological father 2 decades ago. And now she's about to surprise him, not just with her presence, but with the introduction of his granddaughter for the very first time. It's a moment we've all been looking forward to, so I'm honored to share a piece of this journey with you. Lee, thank you so much for being willing to share such a personal and significant part of your life with us. We're literally on the road heading towards this incredible moment. Can you take us back to that first meeting 20 years ago? What led up to it, and how did you feel leading up to that day?
Hello, everyone. So that story, wow, there's a lot to tell, but I'm trying to keep it nice and sweet. In short, so leading up to it, when I grew up, I was born in Massachusetts, and based on my mom's stories, she showed me to my father, and supposedly he didn't want to have anything to do with me. So a couple of years after we moved to Puerto Rico, with that move came a couple of changes. One of those changes was my mom changing her last name from married to single. So of course I always had the thoughts of growing up, how's my father? Who's my father? I even used to think that Wesley Snipes was my father for some reason. Don't know what. I just knew that my mom liked that type of man. So pretty much, growing up, I always had that curiosity because my mom is Puerto Rican. So I'm actually mixed, Puerto Rican and African American. So I felt like half of me was missing, culture-wise, food-wise, family-wise, because, of course, I don't want to generalize, but most African American families are huge. And more from back in the day. So I wanted to find that little history of myself. So my siblings actually helped me with that transition. Of course, my brother, I have an older brother, and he was my go-to towards father figure. But again, he was not my father, so I still felt a little incomplete. Of course, I love my brother, and I appreciate him being there. Like if you see pictures of me when I was younger, he will be in all of my pictures. But, it's like I still felt like something was missing. So my sister moved after a couple of years to Puerto Rico. And she, one time we were cleaning the house and for that time, I don't know if hopefully most listeners will know, but we used to have the negatives of actual photos that you had to.
So back in the day, like 80s?
Yes. Something like that. So back in the days, we used to use that. And you used to have negatives of the pictures that you already printed out for some reason. But that's actually amazing because that is how I actually saw pictures of my actual father. So let me give you a little bit of the behind story. So the only picture that I had previously to that was the hand of a man, black man with a gloves. So that's why I thought Wesley Snipes was my father.
Yeah, he wasn't busy, right? He was busy with movies.
Exactly. But thanks to those negatives that my sister pretty much stole from my mom, we just developed them and printed them out. And that's the first time I saw my father's face and some of my family, like some uncles and some cousins. So, of course, my sister got in a huge problem and big trouble. But, at that point, my mom cannot say much because we already developed the pictures. So I had them in my hand. Also, so after that, I started, I am a person that when I ask a question, if I don't like your answer, I will ask you the same question like 2 years down the road, a different way. So my mom gave me my father's first name, and then he told me where he was from Kentucky. And then I was like, okay. And then I was like, okay, so how you guys met? And she gave me this backstory from a telenovela.
Telenovela, like Guiding Light, or what is that?
Soap operas.
Soap operas. Yep.
So based on that, I didn't believe my mom fully, unfortunately. So I just waited a couple of years down the road. I asked her again. Now my father was from Tennessee. So I was like, okay, a couple of years down the road again, I asked her again, and she gave me the same answer of the first time, that it was Kentucky. So I'm like, let's stick with Kentucky then. After that, then I was like, okay, so I'm going to stay with that, Kentucky. That's where he's originally from. So then after that, of course, now I'm like a teenager, like 16, 17. And I asked her, I'm like, can you give me more information about my father? And she's like, no, because I don't know if you're even from this other guy.
So there's two men.
So now there's two men.
Okay.
Before it was just one. Now there's two. And of course, I knew that she was trying to stir me into, like, for me giving up or me to like quit asking questions. So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So I left it at that. So pretty much what I went based that my father's from Kentucky. He's African American. My mom has always liked older men. So I'm like, he has to be older than her. And then I'm searching for a man with his first name, that lived in Massachusetts and in Kentucky. So I did, every year I would do a search. I would, go into different sites, Google, touch a lot of buttons, find this person, blah, blah, blah. I did not ever paid for any of those sites because I felt like it was maybe not worth it because it could give me the wrong information, or how much do I have to pay for actually finding the person that I want to. So many years passed by. I moved back to Massachusetts. And I actually broke up with one of my exes. Of course, he's my ex, duh.
You break up.
I know, right? So I broke up with one of my exes. And one day, I don't know what happened, but I opened my laptop and I started searching. This day, I found a couple of guys with the description that I wanted. And one of them had all the information that I had. Plus, it had the middle name as Lee. Mind you, Lee has been the nickname that my family has given me since I have memory. So I was like, that's kind of weird. Why would they call me Lee? And then this person, his second name is Lee. So I was like, so I saw he's older than my mom for sure. He was living in Kentucky and Massachusetts. I was like, okay, this might be the person. Sorry, my daughter's in the background. Mommy. So, I was like, what's going to happen? I'm like, what, is this the person? Then I called my ex. Yes. Don't judge me.
It was just recent.
I called my ex and I needed some extra support. Of course, I'm not going to tell my brother because he's like, no, because he's a little bit jealous. And like
very protective.
Yes. And like I said, he was my father figure. So I don't know how he would have felt with that. But I called my ex. He's like, sure, I'll be there. Of course he will.
He always will be there.
So he came over, and this person, the person that I found, had a landline. Who has a landline? Like all those years, a landline. I was like, this is probably disconnected. But I needed that support. So I waited for him to get to my house, to my ex. And once he was there, he's like, okay, so call. I'm like, sure, I'm going to call. Went to the bathroom. I'm back. Okay, call. Sure, I'm going to call. I went grab a drink or something. And he's like, can you just call? And I was like, okay. So I call the landline. So I don't know if you guys have ever had like nerves at the beginning of something and then something is like, oh, it's not going to happen. So your nerves like calm down.
Mm-hmm.
So that happened to me. I called the landline. While it was ringing, my nerves were off the roof, like off the charts. Mm-hmm. And then a woman answers the phone.
Uh-oh. And that when a woman answers the phone.
And I was like, nah, this is not going to happen. This is not the person I'm looking for. So my nerves were like, whatever. This is not the person. Yeah. So it's like I went to, you know, like, I don't know if this has happened to you guys too. And sorry, I have an accent.
I apologize for your accent.
So I don't know if this has happened to you guys too, that you feel like at that moment, your life is in slow motion. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of thoughts happen. I'm like, okay, so this woman, she's like, who the hell are you? Like, you have the wrong number. Like, what? Like, I thought all of this while she answered the phone. Mm-hmm. So then I told her, you know, my first name, and I gave her, you know, a little bit of story. I'm like, my mom, you know, she's this lady, and I'm looking for this person. And this lady was like, I'm sorry, what was your name again? And I gave her my name. She's like, one moment.
Oh my God. My heart is like, I've heard this story before in the car on the way here. And the whole time, my anticipation, like, okay, who's going to answer the phone? Oh my God.
Exactly. So when she says one moment, my heart dropped. I started sweating. Mind you, I'm in Massachusetts. It's cold as hell. It was probably like, a cold month.
Like the 20s?
Yeah. Like I knew it was cold because when my ex came, he came in with a jacket. So it was cold. And he's originally from there. So, you know, I just started sweating and I was like, oh my God. So then this guy comes and answers the phone. I cannot wait for you guys to hear my father a little bit later on. Hello?
The manly voice.
Oh my God, his voice. I was like, thank God I didn't grow up with him. My boyfriends will be like, they will not come to the house. So he's like, hello? And he's like, is this person? I'm like, yes. The first thing that came out of his mouth was, my baby finally found me.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh, don't cry. And of course, I started crying in that moment, but I don't want to cry now. So very dramatic, you know, very Tyler Perry. I dropped to the floor sobbing with my phone in my hands. And my ex actually, you know, I always tell the people close to me my story. So my ex knew the whole story. So he just grabbed the phone and started talking to my father. And I was like, wow. So when I finally came to, he is talking to me. He's like, I've been looking for you. You know, where have you been? How are you? You had to come to Kentucky. And at that moment, it was like a surprise. It was like a shock. You know, I didn't even think it through. I just said yes. Mind you, I'm in a different state. I don't know this person. So I just said yes. Of course, when I told my brother, he almost killed me. But, you know, I felt like I needed to, I don't want to say close that chapter, but I finally had an answer. So, you know, he got my plane ticket. My ex, of course, he couldn't believe it. He was so happy for me at that time. And I was just, you know, after we hang up, it was surreal. It was insane. I didn't even know what just happened. And my ex was there. He was helping me emotionally, and I appreciate him to this day. Even my father, like once I met my father, that I will go into that a little bit more. He actually asked me for that ex. I'm like, we're not together anymore.
He was just my representative.
Exactly. He was just there as a therapist at that point. So, you know, days go by, you know, for the plane ticket. Of course, he got the soonest one. I think I flew out maybe within a week. It's been a little bit ago, so I don't know exactly. But I know it was super fast. That when I told my brother, of course, I told my brother my brother's not a very emotional showing person. Like he will feel something, but his face is straight. Like if you told him, hey, what's up?
Poker face.
Yeah. So his eyes just open so big and he's like, are you sure you're going to do this? You don't know him. He's like, I know he's your father, but is not the same thing as you pictured in your head. And of course, he was 100% right. You have an image, a thought, and things in your head. So you have these things on your head that you're like, that you have a thought, you have an emotion.
Wesley Snipes was your dad, so
I know. Exactly. So it's like, whatever. I told my brother, I'm still going to do it. I'm just letting you know. I just want, I'll give you my information, where I'm going to be, the information, just in case if anything happens. I did it. I don't care. I'm just going to do it. So he's like, fine, do you? So I took the flight from Logan Airport in Boston. And then I actually had to, so the direct flights, I think there's not a lot of direct flights to Kentucky from Massachusetts. So I had to do, how you say that?
Oh God, don't ask me. I don't know language.
You have to stop and get another plane. So yeah, I stopped at one airport. I think it was, what airport it was? I don't know. It was the busiest airport. I don't think it was Chicago. It was terrible. So, and I actually had to run to get the other plane. Mm-hmm. That I do remember because I looked so crazy running towards a different airplane. So then I got into this smaller airplane. People, I love to travel, but just put me in a big plane. Not a lot of turbulence, not a lot of things. I almost had a heart attack at that. Like there was only 2 seats and no more than 50. Like no more than maybe 9 rows.
Mm-hmm.
Like
those
10
little plane jumpers.
Yes, I was freaking out. So I was like, okay, everything is gonna be okay. So I get to the Kentucky airport, and it was so that like not a lot of people fly here. It was deserted. Well, at least that was my experience back in the day. I don't know now. But it was, there was not a lot of people. I'm like, am I even going the right way? Like, what's going on? So then there's these stairs. I don't know what you call them.
Escalators?
The ones that go automatically down.
Escalators.
Those.
I know that word.
Those. So, and then it was like a movie. I had my father, my stepmom, that she is the sweetest. One of my cousins, like she's like one of my aunts because my grandparents raised her. Mm-hmm. And they were all with balloons waiting for me. And I was like, oh my God, this is out of a movie scene. So, and of course, when I hugged my father and he hugged me, we just started crying. It was terrible. I looked terrible.
Did you do the ugly cry?
I did the ugly cry. Mascara running down my cheek, like, the concealer. It was just a hot mess.
Wait, you thought you looked hot, and then all of a sudden you cried.
Yeah, a hot mess. A hot mess. Like, I was like, I'm America's Next Top Model coming out of that plane. And then I was like, what the heck happened to you? You're a hot mess.
Ugly drink.
Yep. So, and at that moment, it was the sweetest, I don't know, strongest hugs that I have ever felt.
A dad's hug.
A dad's hug. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
So sweet.
Yes.
That sounds like an incredibly intense and emotional experience.
Yes.
Just listening to it was I was going to cry. And I had the same emotions, like, oh my God, I'm so excited. So after that first meeting, what was the nature of your relationship over the past 2 decades? Was it consistent or did it ebb and flow?
At the beginning, it was consistent. I used to talk to my father almost every Sunday. Of course, I love my father. But now that I met him, now it's weird to me.
That after you met him, it's weird?
Yeah, it's a weird relationship because I remember I was chasing for him for 20-something years.
And the chase is over.
And the chase is over. I get you guys, men out there.
I don't want him anymore.
No, of course I do. But it was so weird. But of course, like my father, I am 6 feet tall.
Yes, she is.
And it, for me, that is not normal. That's not your average height for a woman. And then meeting my father, like, I had, he answered some of the questions that I have about myself, about my personality, about my color, about my structures. And that felt great to have answers. But then it was a little bit difficult to like put two and two together. Because I'm like, he is in my life, but I don't know how to kind of add him in my life because I had him out of my life for the first 20-something years of my life.
Yeah. So how do I include him in my life? Like
exactly
and
what
does
role?
What role does he want to play?
Exactly. So he always is there for special occasions. He's always there for for Christmas, birthdays. He sent me cards, and I feel appreciative, but I don't know how to reciprocate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of course, I sent him pictures of his granddaughter. He has met her by pictures. This is the first time that he's gonna meet her in person, and I'm so excited. But it's like I want him to be part of her life, so that way she doesn't feel like I'm feeling now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he's there. I love him. I think of him, but I'm still in that process of what role he's going to play, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's clear this relationship has been quiet but persistent thread in your life.
Yes.
Now, fast forward to today. What inspired this trip? And what does it mean to you bringing Princesa, to meet him for the first time?
What inspired this trip is because, my father, he's older. And once my Princesa was born, I was so excited. First of all, she was not even supposed to be here. But
that's another story for another day.
Oh, yeah. But since Princesa was born, I couldn't wait for my father to meet her, because he's the grandfather and he's my father. And here you go. Yep. So that's what inspired this trip, because her birthday is in July. So, of course, I wanted her to meet him before another year passed by in her life. Now she is awake. She's sassy.
Oh, sassy.
So I think it's the perfect time for her to meet him. So that's what it inspired this trip. It is, for me, it's super important that he meets her for the first time. And it gets me happy, excited, and I can't wait to see his face and how she reacts towards him, because my little one, she is very light. So I'm a little bit darker. And of course, my father is even more darker because I'm mixed. My mom is light skinned as well. So she looks a little bit more like my mom. So I cannot wait to see them two together and to take pictures.
I'm also excited too, because I want to meet him.
Yes.
He sounds like a really great guy. And of course, like he's in Kentucky and
y'all.
Right. The bluegrass state. Y'all, the bluegrass state. And I just want to meet, someone new, someone different. And I want to hear his story too.
Yes.
The anticipation in the car it's palpable now.
Yes.
Because I'm like, okay, do we get dressed now? Do we not? Let's get this done now. Do we not? Like, I'm nervous. I'm nervous and excited. It's truly a full circle moment.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Lee, for sharing your perspective.
Of course.
We're going to take a short break. And when we return, we'll be speaking with Lee Sr. himself.
Yeah.
Getting his side of this remarkable story. Stay with us. Welcome back to One Thought at a Time. We are here in our hotel room doing our nails, drinking wine, and reminiscing about yesterday. Oh, how fun it was. Let me paint you the picture, and Lee is going to tell it, and I'm going to be the peanut gallery. So I'll just give you, the car ride and all that. And Mr. Lee Sr. Could not be interviewed for two reasons. One, he was in shock. Oh, that was so funny. And two, he wanted to be present with his daughter and granddaughter. And the past is the past, and we're going to respect that. In the meantime, though, we're going to tell you our side of the story. So here's the picture, right? And it's coming from me, a city girl. We're going into a country. Left and right, farms. Just farms and farms and farms. I was actually looking for the bluegrass in Kentucky, but apparently there isn't bluegrass. It's just greener, but it doesn't look blue. Like, I don't know. I was looking for it. And Miss Anna, who is Lee's stepmom, I asked, I was like, I was looking for bluegrass. Am I colorblind? I'm not sure what's going on. She's like, oh, no, you're not going to see it. She's like, it's only when the wind blows. I was like, oh, well, that's not going to happen. We saw cows. We saw horses. We saw sheep and more cows and more horses and more sheep and more land and more land and more land. And oh, my God, the homes out here are gorgeous. Gorgeous. So we're just basically driving along. Just driving along. It's literally we were like an hour and a half away. And it was exciting. The baby wanted to see her grandfather, and she would say, I want to see grandpa, in Spanish. And then we get there. Oh, my heart was pounding. I was so excited. I was the first one out the car, and it's not even my dad, okay? First one out the car. And because I had the video camera, I had to visualize this. Oh my God, it was just so funny because he didn't know anything, like nothing. And Anna knew, the stepmom, and she's just like, hey, come on up, come on out. And he was just like, there's people out there. There's a girl with long legs. I'm not going out there. Like, he didn't want to come to the day. He's like, what's going on? And wait, he sees me first, okay? That was even, I think he was more surprised. He's like, who is this? I was like, you don't know me, but because he was like, someone's recording me. I was like, you don't know me, but it's nice to meet you. And then finally, Lee will tell you the rest. Wait, before Lee starts, I just want to say also, the City Hall is a little tiny building that says City Hall. And it's next to a fire station that has little small fire trucks. And there's a stop sign before we get to Dad's house. And I'm wondering why. Because there's no one around. There's like, it is so quiet. You can hear yourself think, okay? And it was so cute, though. I'm going to put some pictures up on Instagram. Please make sure you follow on One Thought at a Time 2025. Make sure you go look at the pictures. I want your comments, too. And if there's anything you guys want to know about, anything, anything that you've experienced, I definitely want to know. Like, when did you meet your family member? Have you met your family member? How do you feel about it? How did it go? Definitely want to know all that. So definitely, get back to me on Instagram. I'm always checking it.
Hello, everyone. So yes, go look at the pictures. There will be fascinating pictures. We're going there, the same thing. Like, I remember Kentucky pretty much the same way. I actually saw more stores this time than the first time I was around. I was like, oh my God, this is in the middle of nowhere. This is insane.
$5 Generals.
There's a lot of Dollar General stores out here. No Dunkin' Donuts though. That hurt my soul. So pretty much, it was exciting. Of course, my bestie, I guess she was more nervous than I was for some reason. But everything was great. Like, on our way there, my princesa, I have pictures of my father in my house, and I tell her that that's her grandpa in Spanish, and she calls him in Spanish is abuelo. So that's what she calls him. That's the name that she has for him. So pretty much we get there, and of course I tell my bestie, get ready. This is gonna be exciting. My little one is super excited because we are at Grandpa's house. What? This is the first time. Like, no way. Like, where are we? So I'm sorry. So, I am picturing now that I have the whole information. because I know that I was getting nervous and I was like, oh, this is exciting. My little one is going to meet her grandpa. But then behind the scenes with my stepmother, after she told me what my father was saying, I almost died. So mind you, I don't know if a lot of people it might experience this, but once you have someone in your life that you like to show off, like I like to show off my little one, I haven't sent them me looking back, I haven't sent them any pictures of me. So I have changed a bit since I had my baby. And I was like, wait a minute, my father didn't even recognize me. I was like, what? He's like, there's a lady out there with long legs. Yeah, no shit. Sorry about that. No beep. So he's like, there's a lady out there with long legs. And he's like, there's like two people and they have a child. And I was like, this is so funny. Because he was so in shock that I feel like he never would have crossed his mind that I would do a little extra for him and actually come see him. Because the last times that we have met, it has been, to be honest, it has been pretty much him going close to me or him making the effort to come see me. Of course, once we met, I flew out here, but he bought the plane ticket. So I feel like he didn't know how much I actually cared. I feel like, that it was a shocker. He was so shocked that he went to the store. He called people. He come back and he was still in shock.
First of all, he didn't want to come outside. He said, I'm not going out there. I don't know those people. I'm not going out there.
So my stepmom was like, she just told us, come inside. And so this is the funniest thing. We're going up the stairs. Of course, I have the little one, so I'm going slower. So my bestie is already all the way up. Mm-hmm. So that's the first face he sees. Of course, he has never met her before. He has not seen any pictures. He doesn't know her. And he's like, who is this person in my face? Like, I don't know you. Like, why are you doing it in my house? And then when he looks at me, he's like, Lee? What? And he cannot even believe it. And my little one, because she already knows him, she has seen pictures of him, she already went right into the house. She walked right in like that was her house. And, my papa hugged me. And, when he saw my princesa, he was super excited. My princesa is super long for her age. So, it runs in the family for sure. So it was like, I was so like shocked that he was so shocked, if that makes any sense. I was shocked that he was shocked. That's what it is. But pretty much, it was exciting, seeing how my little one interacts with them. So my little one, she is particular about some people, but, there's some saying that it says that blood is thicker than water. So she felt very comfortable. She just walked right in. She played with my stepmom. She said hi to her grandpa, and she just keep calling him grandpa in Spanish. And she's abuelo here, abuelo there. So it's actually very nice to see that interaction because I didn't have that chance, but I can make it better for her. Like for her to be, for her to know her abuelo and for him to be part of her life. Of course, my father, he's a bit older. And, God's willing, he is with us for a long time, but at least she can enjoy him as much as she can for the time that he's with us, pretty much. And I am very happy that she has my mom and she has her grandpa in her life, even though that some things happened in the past. But I like to turn the page because she is the most important person in my life. And actually, I always say, and I don't want it to sound cliche, but I feel like that baby was sent to me to change my whole family's life because she has touched so many people, so many of my family, and she actually has brought people together that you would not think it would have been even possible. So, it's a blessing, and I'm just excited. I'm just happy that everything went smoothly, everything went well. You're going to hear some weird stories later, about my friend. But, everything was nice. Everything was happy. It was actually, I couldn't ask for a better way to reunite, because it's like me and my bestie were talking, and she was like, it's not a family reunion that you're like, oh my God, like sobbing. It's like, this is actually hilarious, and you will remember this for the long time, and it will bring a smile to your face. So that I actually like, because of course, those reunions that end up in tears, they are very nice, but I feel like it brings joy to your heart when you smile about a reunion. You're like, I cannot believe this went this way. So pretty much, that's my perspective on it. And, I'm blessed to have my little one. I'm blessed that my friend actually accompanied me to come, see my father. And it was a very long trip. But it's super good. And of course, we're leaving tomorrow. So we have a couple of hours ahead of us. So we're already thinking about it. And we actually definitely taking a different route. But I am super happy that we did this. And, I hope it's one of many road trips that we do. And, I just hope that everything keeps going smoothly and everything is happy. And of course, life is not perfect, but it has its perfect moments. So, yes.
Looking back at the past 2 decades, is there anything you wish you had known or done differently regarding your relationship with your father?
So, to be honest, I would say the only thing I would do differently is try to be a little bit more present. I feel like I have neglected him a bit. That's probably why he was so shocked. Because I talked to him, I send them pictures of, special days, special occasions. But I feel like I should be more to him than sending him special things on special days. I can be more in a random day. Hey, what's going on? But I feel like, my bestie met him and we're so similar. We barely talk.
Oh my God.
So it's like, we try to, I don't know if it's something like, that I don't talk much, but we know we love each other, is that type of relationship.
Well, see, and I'm more of, you need to tell me you love me. You need to show me you love me. You need to talk to me to tell me you love me. Talking to me is love. So talk to me. And then it's like, I'm sitting there, right? I'm sitting there. Okay, between them. So he's in the recliner, and so he's so cute. My gosh. And then Lee's on the opposite side. Okay, so they're not even close together, and I'm just sitting there, and there's no one talking, right? Because I think what was said was said, and I think just looking at each other, you've already said what you needed to say. Your facial expressions or the way you move tells him, I'm good, I'm okay.
Exactly.
And I think you feel the same. But me, I'm like, well, I need words. So, hey, and I'm starting to ask a million questions.
100%.
And so, how'd you guys meet? So, what's this? And who's that? And where can I go? And da-da-da-da. So, yeah, I'm glad that you've realized that you have to talk to him more and be present in his life, because he is older.
Yeah, 100%.
What does it mean to you to see Princesa with your father?
Oh, that was super cute. I thought my little one was going to freak out because he's so tall. But no, because like I said before, I had pictures of him, and she will stand up on the chair and she will point at the picture. So she knew exactly who he was because he hasn't changed much. So she was like, oh, this is grandpa. So, it was so nice to see her so comfortable because she is a girly about vibes. Mm-hmm. And I have noticed that with certain people, she's like, no. But when I saw her just walk right in, hey, what's up? I'm here.
Yeah.
So it was super nice. And it actually brought ease to my heart for some reason. So it was just beautiful. I feel like he didn't even ever cross his mind, because when he met me, of course, I didn't have kids back then. So it's not the same like you, me, he's like, oh, if she had a child, then he will be like, oh, it's her and her child. But that process was in the, after we met. So he's like, my baby had a baby. Like, what?
By the way, I brought that up, okay? I said, how do you feel about your baby having a baby? And he goes, well, didn't you see she's a mom? Like, it was just like, to him, it was like the most ridiculous question I could ever say. Like, he was so matter of fact, like, well, I mean, there's nothing we can do, right?
Like he's her.
It was so, I mean, he's such a black and white, right? Like, it's no nonsense, but he's so funny, like, and so sweet and so kind and such a gentleman too. I mean, he opened the door for us when we went to the restaurant, and he wouldn't like let me hold the door so he can go in. No, listen, I got reprimanded too. Okay.
Yep.
I don't remember what I wanted. What was it? I wanted to pay. And he refused. He's like, you sit there and you drink your margarita. And I put my head down. I said, yes, sir. And I drank my margarita.
For sure.
What are your hopes for the future now that Princesa and your dad have met?
Well, I just hope that he's in her life a little bit more. Of course, I will always talk to her about him, and like I said, she sees pictures, and we haven't taken as many pictures. Sorry about that. But it's like I actually just edited a picture that my bestie loved. It's such a beautiful freaking picture.
The two of them. Oh.
It's so nice. And then in the background of that picture, there's a picture of me and Princesa.
Yeah.
So it was just like it was
perfect a perfect picture. Yeah, it was a perfect picture. There was no uncomfortableness. Like, we're like, hey, do you want to sit on the couch chair and with Grandpa? And yeah, let's do it. She's so amazing.
Yes.
Is there any message you would like to share with listeners who might be in a similar situation, either a parent or a child seeking connection after many years?
Yes. For sure. In the, before when we started sharing with you listeners, the episodes, it's like I said, the chase. But I would say, never give up. You never know when would be the right time that destiny or God or whatever higher power would bring that person into your life. Because trust me, I checked almost every other year since I was like a teenager, and I didn't find him until I was in my almost late 20s. So it's like, don't give up. And of course, I would say it's okay to feel weird about it. Like, it's okay for you to have mixed emotions. It's okay for you to not feel, to feel guilty that you feel like you don't know that person, because let's be honest, you don't. They are part of your life, but you don't know that part of your life. So I would just say, go forward. And at least, it's like I always say, as adults, we change the subject for us to look better. But I would say, take what one person said, take what the other person said, and make your own story, because at the end of the day, nobody's going to tell you 100% the truth, because they don't want to look bad in their own story. Let's face it. But I would say just do it. Just do it, because that way and it's not with the what ifs. I hate the what ifs. So it's not like, what would have happened? Why if I stop? Just do what your heart tells you. And if your heart tells you no, then don't do it. If you don't feel ready, it's okay. Like I say, have all your emotions and be true to yourself. And it's like I said, earlier, like, I have to be a little bit better. It's just a little weird to me because somebody else raised me. So for me, that was Papa, and that was the person there, and that's the person that I wanted to brag about my little one to. But he is part of my life, and of course I love him. It's just us getting to understand each other. And actually, it might surprise you because there's some things that I didn't know I got from him.
Okay, first of all her facial expressions are from him. Her germaphobe is from him. Her sarcasm is from him. Like they don't look alike, but they act identical.
Yes.
They're identical. Oh, and I just want to add for the listeners, just a little tidbit. So when Lee said that she called her father's number back in the day,
oh, yes.
she forgot to mention this. Apparently, stepmom told us that she hung up on her stepmom. Okay. She said, "Hey, my name is," gave her the story and hung up on her while she was on her way to get her father. Like, she was like, "Oh, by the way, Lee called." And he's like, "Oh, let me get on the phone." And you weren't there.
I know. Listeners, listen. I didn't even remember that special part. I didn't even remember that part. Nerves can play tricks on you. When she told me I hung up on her, I couldn't even believe it. You know what? Even though she said it, I still was like, oh my God, I can't believe I hung up on her. That's so rude.
Oh, yes. I said the same thing. I said, "You hung up on your stepmom. You're so rude."
But, she was laughing about it. And, that's another thing that I found out things that I did not know. Like every time I talk to them, it's like something new, something different. He actually told me that he looked for me when I was like around 6 or 7 years old. Of course, I don't know that. I don't remember that. Nobody told me anything. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to see me at that time. But there's so many things that are still untold, and I'm learning about them, little by little, something every year. But yeah, that's kind of messed up that I hang up on my stepmom, but she is the sweetest and she is amazing. So she forgave me.
She is. She's so sweet, so kind and loving, and she gives really good hugs. I mean, there's people who give hugs and you know that they don't want to give you a hug, but I'm a hugger. I'm not a hugger. I don't like to be touched. That's not true. But when I do hug someone, I hug them with all the love that I have for them. With the heart. Yeah. So she did that. She did that perfectly, and she's just so amazing.
Super sweet.
Lee, thank you so much for your openness and for sharing this incredible, poignant moment with us. It's truly an honor.
Oh, thank you so much for letting me tell my story a little bit.
And that brings us to the end of this truly special episode of One Thought at a Time. Witnessing this reunion, the joy and the emotion has been an unforgettable experience. It's a powerful reminder that family connections can find their way, even across decades. And with that, new chapters are always waiting to be written. To Lee and Lee Sr. and Anna, thank you for letting us be part of your story. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. We hope this episode has resonated with you. Join us next time on One Thought at a Time as we continue to explore the incredible narrative that shape our lives. So also, by the way, I just want to tell you, I ran through a cornfield. One of my bucket lists, go through a cornfield. They were so shocked that I wanted to run through a cornfield. Who doesn't want to run through a cornfield? And I think I'm going to take some cornstalk with me when I go home. Lee said no. Lee said no, but I'm saying yes. And her father said he would get it for me. He was like, "I'll go with you and get it." But there's snakes in there. But I don't care. I'm going to do it again. And you guys are going to see the video of me running through.
Yes.
And then you're going to see the video of me running out, and maybe I get lost. But there's GPS. So Anna says she'll take out the drone for me. So if I get lost, definitely. We're also going to church tomorrow. Okay, so we're not going to church tomorrow because Lee doesn't want to go to church tomorrow, but I want to go to church because I want to wear those big, big, big hats. But I guess I can't do that. So because she's driving, she's in charge.
Yep.
Also, I saw a sinkhole. I've never seen a sinkhole in my life except on TV. That was kind of cool. And what else did I see? I saw, again, horses and cows, land, and no green grass. But I had a truly amazing time. And
Bluegrass.
no, well, there was grass. Yes, grass. There was no bluegrass. But yeah, I had a great time. And please follow me on Instagram.
For sure. Go.
And it's one thought at a time, 2025. Have a good night, everyone, or good day, or good evening, or whatever it is. Enjoy your day.